Hello, welcome to another episode of Somewhere Between a film and TV podcast. We're your host. I am Daniel Parra.
And I'm Erwin Trejo.
And this episode, we will be reviewing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And then after that, we will be reviewing The Fall Guy, a movie that no one apparently has really seen.
I've seen it.
And I have too. And we're going to get into both of those. Everything we review does have full spoilers. I don't know what there is to spoil with The Fall Guy, but you do have to get through our discussion of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes first. Erwin?
Yes.
I
love monkeys, yes. I do.
I was at the movies today.
Okay.
And this guy at the front was asking everybody, what are you watching? And then...
At the front?
Yeah, the concession, not the concession stand.
Oh,
but
the entrance?
Yeah.
Okay.
The people that block you before you can get into the movie.
they block you to ask you, hey, what are you watching? Yeah, those people? Yeah.
What if I dodged them and then I ran in? He wouldn't know.
I guess.
Have you ever snuck into a movie before?
Yes. I remember my dad. So I think my dad went to go see, I don't remember what. It was us as kids.
Okay.
And I remember he bought tickets for us, of myself and my siblings, for some other animated movie.
Okay.
At the time, but my dad wanted to see Legend of Zorro.
Oh, the Antonio Banderas.
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know what the rating was.
It was PG-13.
Okay, I guess. But my dad wanted to see that.
Okay.
But he bought tickets for us to go see it. Or see that animated movie. I don't remember what happened, but I just remember getting up and I'm like, "Where's my dad?" And so then I walked out, and I remember my dad going into that theater, and so my dad snuck into that theater, and then I snuck in with him.
And you watched it with him?
Yeah, because I remember scenes from Legend of Zorro.
That's the one that people don't really like. There's an Antonio Banderas one that people really, really like, and then one that they don't.
It's the Antonio Banderas one that my dad.
No, he's in both of these.
Oh, he is. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I remember back whenever. I think it was Uncharted was coming out, that the guy who directed that I guess they're making another Zorro movie.
Oh, okay.
That Antonio Banderas was like, I want Tom Holland to play Zorro or something like that. That was whenever people are getting sort of it's funny. Yeah, but the thing about that is he's not even in that much stuff. I think they just always announce him to be in things. But that's that same joke that whenever it's Ryan Gosling is MLK, and then...
Or Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt is Garfield, but he actually is.
Yeah.
And although I saw a clip of that, and I actually did forget that that's Chris Pratt, so I don't know.
I'm
not invested in...
I'm not eager to see.
Yeah. Olive Garden has a special menu for it, though.
What is it?
Lasagna and fettuccine Alfredo.
So things they already have?
There's a third thing, but you get all of them. It's the Garfield menu, and I think there's a little cat that comes with it. It's Garfield, obviously.
Yeah.
Not normal. And I know how you feel about him. And
about who?
Normal.
Who's normal?
He's the gray one. He's the gray one that looks like Garfield.
I don't know.
And people hate on normal.
I don't know who Okay, I don't know. I don't know who normal is.
You like Odie?
The dog, yeah.
Yeah.
I know Odie.
Wait, you've seen the live action ones, right?
I don't know the lore with the Garfield.
I know all the lore to Garfield.
Yes.
He likes lasagna.
Yeah, that's true.
John is a psychopath. There's that one time he accidentally drank a cat's semen. There's...
Why did you say that so casually, as if everybody would know what that?
Cause
what? What did you read?
There's one where he goes, "Thank you for the milk" or something like that, and then they're
Garfield looks at us.
Well, he didn't do it on purpose. It's the nurse that he has a crush on. That's something about. Ah, man, I wish I remember what it was.
That's okay. Let's skip it. I don't want.
It's really important that you know this.
No, it's not.
Erwin.
Yes.
But the guy was like, "Are you watching the monkey movie?" And I was like, movies are back, I think.
Yeah.
Because this is the third movie in the past, however long it's been.
A couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About monkeys. And this, for me, is the best one.
What was the other one?
There was Monkey Man.
Monkey Man.
Godzilla.
Yes.
X-Kong.
Yes.
And now Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
And the other reason why I know that movies are back is because I have not heard this in a long, long time, but I did see this with my dad.
Okay.
And do you know what he said? I'll give you one guess. A monkey comes on screen, and you have a son. What are you going to say to your son?
Ooh, ooh, ah, ah.
No, he's gonna go. Look, it's you.
Oh, damn, that's good.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
It's been a long.
So your
time.
dad's not gonna turn to you and just start making like monkey noises?
Not in the theater, I don't think.
Oh,
I hope not. Although I did marathon all of them with him recently. Okay. Did you end up doing that?
I saw the last two. So
okay.
I just saw Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
Just because at least with Rise of the Planet of the Apes, I remember seeing it a bunch of times. So I was like, I feel like
I know Rise very, very well. And I am glad I watched it again, though, because there is something they set up in this movie that's from Rise. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you know what it is, but...
What is it?
So, I want to get this out of the way, because, like, after the moment the movie ended, I was like, wait, I thought this was just something that they weren't ever going to get back to. Mm-hmm. Because in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, there's this whole, like, segment with them on... like in the newspaper that they sent these people to Mars, I think.
Okay.
And that they get stranded there. And you can see throughout the movie that the newspaper has like, did we lose the astronauts? Did we...
Oh, in Rise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Well, there's like this sort of ongoing subplot with that, like, but it's never addressed on camera. It's only ever on the newspapers and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And
so it's one of those things like you have to find or like look at?
Basically, but it's in a lot of the movie. It's sort of like in individual scenes, and I was wondering if it was to tie back into the 1968 Charlton Heston one, where it's the whole thing about like the astronauts, and then they like land on the planet of the apes, and then it turns out it's Earth, but in the future. And with that, though, I thought it was just going to be a callback.
Yes.
But the end of this movie, where they have the telescope, or the thing that the astronomy tower.
Yeah.
The last shot of the movie is both of them looking up into the sky, and they're obviously seeing something, right? But then it ends right there. I think that's what that is. Is like that's who they got in contact with.
I thought
are the people from.
Oh, I thought it was because the guy said Indiana. So
Did
another, I heard him say like whenever they did the radio, over one another, they were just trying to communicate to other humans, and the other guy said like Indiana.
Okay.
And that's what I remember.
There's a possibility of that, but I do think it's also like, I mean, there's space bases and stuff, and
yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I thought that whenever the monkey, Noah and I forgot her name.
It was Nova and May.
And May.
Yeah. May. Well, she had two names.
No, but not Nova and May. The other one, the monkey woman.
Oh.
The one that he likes.
Yeah.
Her. Whenever they like go back to that telescope.
Yeah.
I thought it was them looking into the stars, saying something where it's like, oh wow, there's more possibilities than just what we're being led on.
I do think that this kind of ends on not a cliffhanger, but more of like a, okay, this story is not done. I don't know what this is about yet. Mm-hmm. But what
a wonderful day.
He's cool, right?
I love the king.
That whole speech that he gives is very... I have a lot of thoughts on this movie. I want to like try and organize them. So before we fully get into this one, I gotta ask you, what do you think of this franchise in general? Have you seen the Tim Burton one or any of the older ones with Mark Wahlberg? And what do you think of Rise, Dawn, and War?
Well, I don't think I've seen the older ones.
Okay.
I remember, I know about them. Like, I just recently saw this video of just them explaining the timeline for all of it. And the Mark Wahlberg one, I remember watching... I don't know. I just remember scenes from it.
Okay.
But, I mean, I just hear it's not great.
But
what do you...
Of
just like the older ones and the Tim Burton ones.
I have seen the 68 one.
Okay.
It is one of those things where it's considered one of the best movies ever made for a reason. Mm-hmm. It's like partially by the guy who made Twilight Zone.
Okay.
And I think that movie's brilliant. It is not what you think it is, but then again, to me, none of these movies are what you think they are until you see them. Mm-hmm. on their basis, I do love monkeys. I know you love monkeys.
True.
They have this sort of quality to them where you kind of forget how serious they are because of their subject matter, up until you realize that they are usually commentary or metaphor for something going on in the world, or they're about class, they're about race, they're about the idea of war and what it means. All of these have something to say, and I'll get to the new one in a second and what I think it's about. But that one I think is amazing. The one I think is terrible is, in fact, the Tim Burton one. It has one of the... We talk about twists all the time and what they are. Yeah. It has one of the worst twists maybe ever in a movie.
What was the twist again?
So, you're going to say it's not a twist, and you're right, it's not, because it makes no fucking sense.
Okay.
It's this moment... So, Mark Wahlberg is stranded on Planet of the Apes, where, like, you know, everything is ruled by apes. Yes. And I was watching clips from that today, by the way, and I think that the makeup on them sounds exactly the way that Jim Carrey talks in The Grinch, which makes me wonder if you, like, can't move parts of your mouth that make you sound like that. And with that, he gets back onto Earth, and then the Abraham Lincoln statue is an ape. It's this whole joke. People call it Abraham Lincoln or Ape Lincoln.
That's
and
funny.
It is funny. But like I've heard and read that like a million different times over the years. And then everybody gets out of the police car and they arrest him, and you know what they all are? They're all apes, And then it ends.
Wait, I'm confused. Wait, okay. So when did he see like Ape Lincoln?
Whenever he gets back to his Earth.
Oh, to his own Earth.
Yeah.
But he was on 2 different planets.
He was on a different planet.
He went to a different planet, then went back to his planet.
Yeah.
And then he realized that his planet is all apes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's it. That's how the movie ends. And they never made another one because people hate that movie. Yeah. And people don't really understand it. I think what he was going for was that it was supposed to be a butterfly effect about how his tangling with them somehow led back to that, but that makes no sense.
It sounds to me it sounds like from the information you gave me, it just sounds like he went to that planet where that's, you know, Planet of the Apes, right?
Right.
And it just seems like he probably like went back to his planet, but probably in a time like in the future type of sense.
Yeah.
And maybe, but even then, I'm just like, I don't know.
Maybe.
I have to watch the movie.
I don't really remember it very well, but the funny thing is, I actually used to kind of be obsessed with that movie as a kid. I think it's maybe because it was the one, like, monkey thing around. But then again, I was also obsessed with King Kong. So anything involving monkeys, since I was a kid, I would, like, you know, look for, including my gym partner's a monkey.
Yeah. Monkey.
Dude, I was just reading something like and it had that, and I forgot what it was from, and I was like, I know that. What's that from? Adam Lyon. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah,
that's his last. That's why he's like, why am I here?
No, I remember because I was like, how cool would it be if your school was zoo animals? And he was like,
he took your idea.
No, I would watch the show and think that. I didn't like ever come up with that myself. I would never.
At 6 years old.
Me at 4. Like, how awesome would it be if we scammed people and then bought Jawbreakers?
The producer of Cartoon Network turns around. What did you say?
Can you repeat that?
Can you repeat that one more time?
What's that? Oh no, you haven't seen Dewey Cox.
No.
Never mind. There's a line like that where he's like, "What did you say?" And then no, that's the thing that they do with biopics. Whenever it's like, you know what, I'm gonna rock you, and you're like, we will what?
We will what?
It's exactly like that.
This is Bohemian Rhapsody. What did you say? 8 minutes long, you said?
Or we're some kind of what?
Oh.
No, that's the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Oh yeah, that was good. Okay,
now Rise.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I do also have a very specific memory of watching. We talk about movies that we remember seeing for the first time in theaters.
Yes.
This is definitely one of them for me.
Okay.
Because
I didn't see that one in theaters.
Did you not?
No, I saw... I'm pretty sure I saw Dawn and then War in theaters. But for Rise, I remember at home.
Yeah.
And I remember in the living room, and I remember my dad just clicking through, and it was on FX.
And then watching it.
Yeah, and it was just like starting.
Yeah.
And I remember I was so invested when that part happens, that scene.
It's the no.
Yes.
It's unfair for me to call this like the worst one because it's my least favorite, but that's not without saying. You got to think about the fact that this franchise has Dawn and War in it, so that's just not fair.
Oh, I can't.
And watching Rise again,
yes,
it's incredible. It's still great.
Yes.
It still looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a little bit more aged in terms of visual effects? Just by a bit. But I think that's only because Dawn and War still look perfect.
Yes.
Like I'm watching them again just recently.
Yes.
They're flawless. Like there's not a single issue visually or thematically with those movies at all.
Mm-hmm.
And Rise, you're right. When I saw this in theaters, I think this is the way to do fan service and callbacks because not only do they call back a bunch of the stuff that happens in the original, they expand on it with new ideas. Because the whole line about "get your hands off me, you damn dirty ape," they say it in the Tim Burton one, but it doesn't come off. It comes off as goofy and like sort of like winking at the camera.
Yeah.
Whenever we talk about like fan service and all of that, and what do you think of that? But I remember that whenever he says that line, people laugh, but it's immediately cut off because of the way the camera sort of pans up to Caesar, and then he like lengthens his body and then yells no. And I do remember the gasp like in the theater when that happened. That's an incredible play on not just fan service but expanding your idea so you have something new to offer, because from then on the franchise is like, okay, I see what we're doing now, why it's called Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And I still do love the human characters in these movies. That's where I don't know if these are considered monster movies. I don't really pair them like that. I don't ever view them in the same lens that I view Godzilla, even though that's also allegory for war and the atomic bomb. But these have their own thing going for them.
Yeah. I do love that scene how you were just explaining Caesar saying no.
Yeah.
Because I think, at least to me, where at first it just feels like there's not an imbalance of like, who am I following? Caesar... Yeah. Or like the human characters, right? And like, who am I like rooting for?
Yeah.
And so the moment where the camera pans to Caesar saying no, I feel that the director had it where from now on this is Caesar's story.
Yeah,
you're following Caesar throughout this whole trilogy from now on.
Yeah.
Because now, ever since like even with the other two, with Dawn and War, of course we get the human characters, but they just don't compare to how Caesar has been treated throughout this whole trilogy.
And I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but you can tell that Caesar's still very much important to the series because of how he's used in Kingdom.
Yes.
And that's one of the best parts of the movie to me. But with these movies are all about something.
Yes.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes is sort of about playing God and how easily you could have this domino effect of mankind being its sort of own reason for being wiped out. If they had just kept it with just Caesar or left it alone, then,
I mean, just playing with nature alone. So
because there's that whole thing where Caesar he bites that one
of the dad, or like the dad or something.
And that guy, he's like, watching that movie again was kind of funny because he doesn't ever really actually do anything wrong to them. He's just like, don't let the monkey come near my house or whatever, and that's kind of like all he says. And then he gets mad at John Lithgow because he tries to steal his car, and you're like, I mean,
he has like dementia or something.
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's,
because they call it ALZ-15, I think, or 14. It doesn't matter. But I still love that movie. You know who's in that?
Who?
Brian Cox from Succession.
Oh.
I forgot he was in it, but when he showed up, I was like, I know who that is.
Yeah.
And he has dyed red hair. So I was like, I don't know why he has that in that movie. But then, that's the only one I would call a little bit imperfect out of the three. It's just because I don't know if it's because I know 2 and 3 that I think that it has some form of pacing issue in that it maybe doesn't focus on the apes enough, but that's also not fair because it definitely does, because the second half transitions to them fully, like you said.
Yes.
But is there anything else you remember about Rise that you really enjoy, or?
No, not really. I mean, I feel like you said everything with about Rise.
I'll let you go first on Dawn.
Dawn,
though.
I just never knew how big Matt Reeves was gonna be.
Yeah.
But after watching these two, I guess I'm just amazed how much he handled, especially with Dawn.
Yeah.
And just setting up how Caesar was gonna handle, and not just Caesar alone, but like apes against humans throughout this whole, I trilogy, guess, not just the trilogy,
whatever they're aiming for now.
Yeah, but like this, apparently it's like 9 movies.
Whenever they said that, I was like, this is one of the few franchises that can say this, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
I was like, I can't wait to see how it ends goes, and everything. So, but with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, it's just I don't even know how to explain it. It just, the way it just shifts in terms of the way it looks amazing. Because even with Rise, there are moments where I was like, oh, it looks great.
Yeah.
But with Dawn, it's just like a whole new look. And I don't know what it is about Andy Serkis. It's just, he gets better and better.
He has this kind of gravitas to him that you have to credit him for motion capture.
Yes.
But I know that we talked about this on our Star Wars Ranked episode. This does stem from Ahmed Best and Jar Jar Binks, which is kind of hilarious that they're connected, because then just a couple of years later was Gollum, and Andy Serkis and Toby Kebbell, Judy Greer, literally everyone that's in these movies like deserves all the credit in the world for how they bring these characters to life, because it's insane. And talk more about Dawn.
I think what I loved about Dawn as well is just basically putting Caesar in human-like areas, right? Having family, building trust with one another, and of course having like the antagonist being human still, but then also having Caesar, and like having Caesar like showing type of like emotions that most likely like apes have never really felt yet. Of course, they're just being more aware and just following whoever is like the strongest, let's say. And then of course Koba now being
is one of the,
it's just like those, I don't know, because I remember the first time thinking, I was like, wow, Koba's a great villain. But then it's just weird because it's like how all these movies just connect so well to one another, because it's like I can't talk about Dawn without talking about Rise, but then also about War, because
they perfectly expand on each other while also introducing new ideas.
Yes,
for sure.
I just don't, because now speaking about Koba, like to me, Koba got better because of War. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
But that's also because of the whole thing with Andy Serkis, or Caesar. Who, by the way, I think one of the best movie characters of all time. I think that this movie, the new one, knows it too. I am really glad, we were just talking about this before we started recording, I'm glad that these movies they've always done well. It's just that people haven't really spoken about the fact that they'd seen them. But I told you that at my job, I would ask people like, oh, are you going to watch this? Are you going to see this? And they're like, oh yeah, no, I love the other ones. And I'm like, oh, you've seen these? And a lot of people have. It's just that there's no real discussion about them. But my theater was full.
My theater was too.
It's doing really well.
Let's go.
I can't wait for more of these. As long as they have something to say. That was my apprehension with the new one. Was that I was really like, I know that 2 and 3 are incomparable. You can't. Like, there's just, and that's sort of not fair to anything else that comes out.
See, but I think at least with Dawn, or just Dawn and War, they had their ideas about humans and apes, but at the same time, what the core was the main character, right? Caesar. And just seeing his dilemma of battling of, well, I was raised by humans and I was taken care of so well. But then it's also them being the ones betraying us too.
That's why Dawn works so well. My personal favorite, and I've seen that people are like sort of going through a kind of revisionist thing here, not in the sense of like Phantom Menace, but more that like people are starting to say that War is their favorite. I've read that.
But we're saying Dawn was their favorite?
Yeah, people have been saying that for a while. And for me, I think 2 and 3 are perfect.
Yeah.
But Dawn, War takes every idea it has and solidifies them.
I love War so
and
much.
Expands on everything that it offers. But it also, these movies have such a deep quiet about them. They're grim and they're really dark. Like, they're insanely dark movies.
They're beautifully dark. I love the way War looks.
Yeah.
Even just like in the first 5 minutes where the soldiers are going through the forest.
Oh, yeah. Are you talking about War?
Yeah, War. Yeah. It looks... I had to pause it because I was like, why does it look so good?
And the Apocalypse Now stuff. There's like a thing on his helmet. It says Monkey Killer on it. And it's all of the sort of iconography of war and what that looks like. But Dawn, still, the reason why I love that one so much is because it is tragedy. It's just a series of events where things go wrong. And the more and more they stick to their morals, the more that they like can't help it. They like run into issues because they are all so right to themselves in their own ways. That it leads to their downfall. What makes Caesar so interesting is he's conflicted because of Rise. Like you said, these two expand on each other. Because Koba is unfortunately kind of correct. Everything he's shown. He has a reason to act that way. And then Caesar also has a reason to act that way too, because he shows a kindness and empathy because one person or two really showed that to him.
In Dawn?
Yeah. Well, in Rise.
On Rise, yeah.
So that like leads to the stuff with Jason Clarke in the second one. And those tie into each other really well. But then it leads to this third act conflict where, and I forgot that he shoots Caesar like in the middle of the movie. Because I was like, wait, I know he doesn't die in this one, but I also kind of forgot where it kind of goes. Because that huge... He goes,
Caesar!
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
I get this kind of... He is one of the best movie villains ever. That whole thing with, like, it's a meme with him on Twitter is, I think, a meme for a reason. Like, he's getting the Thanos treatment 10 years later, but...
That's crazy.
You know, any time is a good time, I guess.
That's true.
And he has an amazing design. He's really ugly, but...
Well, because it's like just because of what the humans did to him.
Yeah.
All the scientists and all.
Oh, the human work thing where he points at himself. Because it's really small moments like that with that word.
Also, I think we talked about it too, where the fact that sometimes these apes, when they talk to one another, they can say so much with so little.
Yeah. Wait, can you tell the story about how the first time you saw Dawn and it didn't have subtitles?
Oh my gosh, yes. So I was watching... where was it? I was watching Dawn at I think at home.
Yeah.
But for some reason there was no subtitles like whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm understanding these apes. and then once I finished the movie, I told you about it, and you were like, what do you mean there was no subtitles? Like, there's subtitles. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like they talk to each other.
Yeah, and like they would showcase like the words and everything on the screen. I was like, what? So I watched it again and I'd make sure like I was watching it with subtitles. I was like, oh, it's there.
I don't know if it's because, I mean...
I think it's just because the expressions. And I think that's what, with these movies, they were able to showcase so much, like, just their emotions through their expressions.
Yeah.
From all the actors and actresses who played the apes.
Well, that's why you're able to like know their names so well. I know Rocket and Koba and
Blue
Caesar and what's the name of Rocket's son?
Oh, shoot, I don't remember.
I forgot that he dies, and the way in which he dies is insane.
Yeah.
But the landscape of these, it looks really, really good. I also forgot that Gary Oldman in Dawn is not even a villain. He's just sort of like stuck in the middle of the conflict.
Yeah.
And the absolute one of the best scenes ever in a movie to me that's in Dawn is the moment when Koba tries to steal the gun from the guys in like the compound.
Oh yes.
And then like the sort of like flip of the switch, and then he shoots them.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that being in the trailer
Mm-hmm.
and being like, this movie looks awesome.
Yeah.
And it's still, to me, it's up there with all of the best sequels. People do put it in the category of, well, I guess Dune 2 is now up there.
Yeah.
And then there's also Empire Strikes Back. Everyone always says that. Dark Knight. It is there for me. It has all of the qualifications that
Caesar
put that there.
Sorry, I just love saying that.
But my favorite in that whole trilogy.
Yes.
And I mean, I definitely still think that it is my favorite of like all of them.
Wait, Dawn is?
No, War.
Or War?
Yeah. Is War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, War for the Planet of the Apes is still my favorite.
Yeah, what do you think?
It's just, I think because at the end of the day, all three of those movies, the main focus shifted to Caesar, and the third one definitely felt the entire time was about Caesar.
Yeah.
And just how his dilemma from his past, and how he was letting his past affect what he's doing now. And I mean, especially with like his family dying and seeing that happen because of a human again, and trying to deal with the fact that, am I ready to like let my morals go away just to avenge my family? And
it gets his entire tribe, his clan, in trouble in the first place. His own sort of revenge path is the downfall of everything he worked for in the first place. These movies are supposed to be a tragedy. It's supposed to be the sort of fall of Caesar. I don't know, like, I'm sure the name's on purpose.
Yes.
And the idea of him is that he is our protagonist. And we were just talking about how I get annoyed when protagonists are not flawed. He's an incredibly flawed character in all the best ways. Were you going to say something?
Oh, well, I feel like the moment, I think it was solidified in War for the Planet of the Apes when, like, Winter, do you remember that ape?
Yeah,
and how he, I don't think he passed out. I think he died.
Yeah.
Because Caesar had him. Killed him. Yeah, right? And I'm like, I feel like that moment right then and there when he's like, ape, don't kill ape.
Yeah.
And he killed an ape.
Well, in the new one, they even say, like, these are Caesar's laws. Like, everything he say is laws, like the thing that they say. And with this one is the darkest, not just in terms of, like, visuals, but, like, in terms of what it's dealing with thematically. And I forgot just how blunt
bloody
that too.
Yeah,
there's so many different images. There's an image of whenever they take off the masks of the mute people that they had either slaughtered or one of them was left alive on accident.
Yes.
And you can see the blood in the snow. In a lot of the images of this I don't know if it's
or when the apes are hanging from the those X's and everything. Yeah.
And then they do that with him too.
Yes.
But that's why, like, these movies get away with the PG-13 rating. I'm not really sure how. I think it's because of the fact that we're not watching humans.
Yes.
But it's telling a humane story with them. That's what the best kind of sci-fi does, is it has these allegories for things. Like, this also has Holocaust imagery in it.
Yes.
And it's about the oppression of people. And it's also about the kind of, like, Woody Harrelson's a psychopath in this one. And I told you I love how he plays him, because he plays him like this is normal. And everything he's saying is just like, no, he's right. Like, he feels completely right in what he's saying.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the best type of insane person, is the one that's not played like he is insane. I mean, you can get good performances out of that. Like, I know, like, Joker is like that. But no, with this, it has this very understated quality to it. And Matt Reeves, like you said, of course, is... I would never bet against him. I would never bet against this franchise either.
I would.
You would?
Yeah.
Well, the Tim Burton one's around, isn't it?
100 on red.
Is that a...
like the gambling
I don't
joke?
know how gambling works.
I don't know how gambling works.
I do know.
You bet all your life savings on one color, and that's it.
So, would you like life advice?
No.
I was told.
I said no.
I was told.
Okay, but I said no.
Everyone out there, please do this. Please do this. I know we get ads for casinos.
Oh, okay.
In our podcast.
You're gonna get a casino ad right now.
So, all your money in your bank account right now. Go on to one of those websites.
Okay.
And
all right,
put all your money there.
Okay.
Make sure you have nothing left in your savings.
Okay.
Especially if you have kids. Especially if you've saved for their college funds. You have $40,000. Put all of it onto. Give me a number.
Black.
That is not a number.
Okay, I'm still thinking about colors. My bad.
Wait. What's
7?
7? Okay.
Yeah.
Craps is where you do this, right?
I didn't know, like.
Not like
animals are in this.
Craps?
Oh, I say crabs.
No, craps like the
poop.
No, not like that. Oh. Not like whenever my stomach hurts.
I think it's crepes.
That's a breakfast food.
Okay, well I don't know what
that the French came up with. It's a.
I like the French people. Or the food.
No, dude.
What?
Put it on 7 on anything you can gamble on, and you will quadruple your profit. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I mean, if you have a winning mentality, then yeah.
If you have a loser's mentality, you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
But if you have a winner's mentality,
you'll
win. So you can't blame us if
when the casino manager is yelling at you saying that you have to pay, and you're telling them no, I won.
Whenever they take you out in the back and they bust your kneecaps in, and they tell you that you better pay up, say that they have a loser's mentality, and then they'll just be like, "He's right.
He's right,"
and then they'll give you all the money back. And then you'll be stuck there forever, essentially. But
like Bruno Mars, apparently.
He's in debt, right?
Apparently, he's in debt, and he's like at some casino or something, like Elvis was.
Bruno Mars' debt is out of this world.
Yeah, dude, I love Bruno Mars. Old Bruno Mars.
I love but I really like Silk Sonic.
I do like their songs too, but I'm just so used to like Do Whoops and Hooligans.
Oh yeah.
And then the Jukebox.
The one with the gorilla on it?
Yeah, see?
Monkeys.
Monkey.
Me watching this monkey.
Monkey, yeah. I get
So, anything else to say about War?
No, I love the last. I think at the end of the day, like, I love this trilogy that they had.
Oh, I do want to say.
Story.
We talked about this on a previous episode. I want to elaborate on this a little bit more. I find the design of the last act of this, and I don't want this to come off negative because it's a compliment.
Okay.
Is it's intentionally underwhelming in its wrap up of the war, because that's not what this is about. Mm-hmm. It's about the inner conflict between man and human, and how Woody Harrelson, his character, again echoes the downfall.
Echoes.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. I think that's why they're called that. Is because they're echoes of the past, and are the echoes of humanity. And how it was kind of their own downfall, because that girl touches that, and then that's how the doll, and that's how he gets the simian flu, and he ends up killing himself, which is another, again, not how a major blockbuster trilogy would ever wrap itself up. Like imagine Thanos, like, well, he wouldn't shoot himself with a gun, but
with the Infinity Gauntlet, he's just boom,
and then he's just like, I'm out of here, guys.
I'm done.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think that they're very kind of Shakespearean in what they do, and they all work incredibly well, which leads us into a movie that we haven't even talked about very much yet.
Damn, it's been like 40 minutes.
I know, but I love those. We both love those first 3 so much.
Yeah, that's true.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. What were your thoughts going into this before? What did you think of the trailers? And what did you think of it?
With the trailers, of course, I was already sold because I love the trilogy.
Yeah.
But I think with the trailers themselves, I don't know. I just felt like I hope they had like a strong idea of what they wanted to like showcase again.
Yeah.
Because if it felt like the same, I wouldn't want to watch it.
Yeah.
But luckily, of course, watching the movie now, it's like, okay, I see their ideas and what they have in store.
And unfortunately, I'm not even going to dare compare this to 2 or 3 because I don't know what the plot that they're leading towards is. I have senses of it. I have a feeling, but I would like to wait because the only one that I think it's really fair to compare it to right now is Rise.
Yeah.
Because 2 and 3 are so good anyway that I think like you're sort of setting yourself up for that if you end up comparing those.
Yeah.
But what'd you think of this?
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Of course, there's some things that I was just I didn't really have not really issues, but it just felt underwhelming.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought it was really good. I love the king.
Proximus Caesar.
I love the way he talked.
Oh, I love his like cadence and his voice.
Yes,
yeah.
It's so good. Who else? I like that orangutan.
Oh,
Rocky?
Rocka. Yeah.
I keep saying Rocket or Rocket.
No, Rocket's awesome.
Yeah.
But
And then Nova. I really like Nova or May.
The girl?
Yeah.
So I loved this, full disclosure. I am sort of also biased towards this franchise in the first place, though. I think some of the stuff that is underwhelming in it is either... I'm not, like, excusing anything being underwhelming.
Yeah.
I think I'm not going to say it's by design either.
Yeah.
I was very impressed by this movie's patience. I thought it was intentionally sort of taking its time to guide you through this world in the first place. And this is one of those movies to me that even while watching it, I was like, I think... watching this again, this is one of those gets better like as you watch it more movies.
Okay.
Because I love Noah. I think that's a great new character to follow.
I disagree.
Really?
I like Noah, but to me, I think the other characters around him were more interesting to me. Like I found his dad more interesting.
Did you really?
Yeah, I really did.
Yeah.
Or like the mom or the girl that he was interested. I just think because Noah, he reminded me of like the audience experiencing it, which I totally understand because that's how they usually do with like main characters. But I just didn't think Noah had so much to work with, or I just didn't get like the same emotions or feelings compared to like the other, like Apes and.
For me, I would say the first half of this movie, I sort of agree. Up until the stuff with May, he has what I am convinced is going to be the opposite arc of Caesar. Because they laid the groundwork for it in this one. He trusts her up until he doesn't. And those final couple scenes of the movie where she has like the gun behind her back.
Okay, yes. That scene that was great.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the look he gives, like the very last shot of the movie.
Yeah.
I was like, I think this is headed towards another war with the humans, and he's going to be leading that, and it's going to be about the fall of trust
I don't know
with each other, because I hope because like I don't know what their ideas are yet, but those are like sort of that's the groundwork I'm getting from it.
And so what I got from the movie as well, whenever the Proximus Caesar was showing Noah the kingdom that he's building, I was thinking of, well, there's apes all around the world, right? Because even in war, they were saying how there's like other apes.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they say that there's like everywhere.
Everywhere, right? Yeah. It's the same thing with humans. They're everywhere. And I do think there's going to be another like war type movie. But I don't know if they're going to introduce in more characters or like another main character to introduce another like more ideas, right? Of course, I would like to follow this clan, but it just seems like the way they had this main character and everyone else was just focused in this one air general area.
Because they do go back to
where they were.
Yeah, at the end of it.
Because imagine if Caesar like got everybody out there and Caesar was like, "Well, I'm going back home."
He like went back to
the house and everything. You're like, "What?"
Like, why would he do that?
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think that'd be a good idea to introduce more than one main character, because
just like a different main character at least. I just didn't think he was strong enough to lead.
Yeah.
But that's because like I think I just found everybody else so much more fascinating than Noah himself, because Noah, to me, there wasn't enough reaction that he gave, at least to me, to care. I think
like the reason why I did respond to him so much is because of the reason that you didn't.
Oh, okay.
Was because we just talked about the hero's journey thing.
Oh, okay.
This again is that down to a T. It's like perfectly done following that plot structure, because at the beginning you are introduced to their world, what it's like, the status quo is what it's called, and they're raising the eagles and the egg thing. I thought that was all really fascinating. I love that these movies can incorporate lore and you just get it. You're like, okay, yeah, that, I mean,
I like that.
Yeah,
that was cool.
And then it's like, what is the thing that interrupts the thing that they're currently living with that makes the plot move forward?
Yes.
And it's, of course, whenever the human accidentally leads, or I guess it's also up to you to like figure out if it's accidentally or not to them in the first place.
Yeah.
And then things escalate from there, and it's like the whole like, what's the call to adventure? It's the whole thing where Raka's kind of like, we should, or I did love the moment whenever he goes through the tunnel, like the music, the way it builds up, I thought was really cool. And these movies do have a sort of like, they remind you that they do care about visuals so much. They're not only concerned about that, but they are very concerned about that. And what were my flaws with this? Because like, say some more of your positives before.
My positives?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I enjoyed the second half more than the first half.
Okay.
I think the first half was a bit slow just because it was a journey.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were just traveling along just to get to the actual kingdom itself kind of dragged for me a little bit, because I'm just waiting, and they kept talking a lot about the past.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know if it's just to like remind the audience about the past too.
I think it was, but also part of the point of this movie is the line with someone that I did not know was in this was William H. Macy.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And whenever he says, you need to stop thinking about the way things were and the way things are.
Evolution?
Oh, the way he says it's so cool, yeah.
I just love the way he was just talking the entire time in this movie.
That line though, pretty much from then on the movie's like
about that.
Yeah, okay. And then it's like, since it's said out loud, and I love this idea. I think this movie's kind of sort of about religion also, and twisting words for your own benefit, because I'm also really glad that they did this. I didn't know that they would. I straight up started this movie sort of like tearing up because they showed the Caesar funeral, and it benefited me having just seen those again, because I was like, that's Maurice, and then I was like, why is he?
And then Rocket.
Yeah, and then they show the thing at the beginning. I thought that was great. Like, it's cool because they're like, all right, this is to show that we can acknowledge these characters one last time before we fully move on.
Yes.
And the stuff where they bring up Caesar, you can still very much feel his presence throughout this movie, even if he's no longer around, because I don't know how many generations have passed, but they did say that it was generations.
I thought it said like 300.
Was it?
I think I read something where it said like after 300 years.
Okay. Well, they never say it like in the movie.
Oh, okay.
But with this though, I do think, for me, I like, if we're gonna compare, I think it's as good, or maybe I like it a little bit more, but I can't say that for sure.
Yeah.
I know it's as good as Rise, at least to me.
I would say it's as good as Rise. I would have to watch Rise again, but I don't know if I would say it's like better than Rise.
Yeah. But that's why I was also, we've even said this on a previous episode. I was like, I just want it to be good.
That's true.
Like,
I'm happy that it's good.
Yeah.
Because the second half of this movie was great. I think the moment they actually, or Noah and Nova actually get to the kingdom itself, I was like, oh, I'm hooked.
Yeah. I think that pays off because of how much time you spend with them in the first half.
Yes.
It sucks that Raka dies before they get there, because I loved that character. And you know how there's like all those memes going around where it's like, this is the squad, this is the gang, and it was funny. And it was Caesar and Rocket and Maurice, and then the one ape that like dies and Rise like halfway through. Yeah. But I thought this was gonna be like the new people, like the new. But then that's not where this franchise is heading, I guess.
See, and that's what I'm thinking of, where I don't know if Noah's still gonna be around, or just like that clan or the same apes. because I do think that they're just gonna be talking about another section and talk about like these different ideas.
It would be really cool if what you're saying is they decide to focus on different factions, and then that sort of brings them together into this one like grander movie.
Yeah.
If that's what they were heading towards, that would take a while, but they said they're making a lot of these.
Yes.
And I wouldn't mind that for sure. That could be an interesting idea to have a bunch of main characters focused on, and then have them all sort of be about different things, but then have to tie in together in some kind of way.
I mean, they don't have to tie in together, but
well, unless like they just tell individual stories or something, because that's like what the first few had done. I'm glad to be back in this world. I am glad this is as good as it is, because we do live in a world, in an age of bringing
Apes.
back things for not yet.
Yeah.
Bringing back things for no reason.
Yes.
I'd heard people comparing this to those kinds of franchise reboots, like the Legacy sequels, where people are like, it sort of follows a similar plot structure to Force Awakens, which is fine and all that. But I was also like, the thing about these movies, though, is they always have something to say.
Okay.
They always are about something to me. So for me, don't bring this franchise back unless you have an idea.
Yes.
And something you want to have like commentary on. And I do think Proximus Caesar is the big idea there for this one. I love that character a lot. I love his speeches, like you said. I love everything about him, his design. He has this really intimidating presence to him.
Yes.
And a lot of this worked really well for me. My issues do stem from the first half of the movie as well. It is just a little too laggy in the setting stuff up part.
Yes.
But I still enjoyed being around these characters so much that it wasn't too much of an issue. And the moment you start to kind of feel like you might need to move on soon, they do.
Yes.
And that's when they get to the kingdom. And I love the design of that. I love, like, people kept comparing the third act of this to The Way of Water from Avatar, and I can kind of see it. I think it's
when was the last time you saw
Way of Water?
Yeah.
I saw it like 3 times in theaters. I don't think I've seen it since then.
I've only seen it once in theaters.
Really?
Yeah, and it was like whenever it came out.
The movie's still amazing. I thought.
Yeah. I remember being like, this movie's great.
Yeah, we were kind of not Avatar, like.
I absolutely not. My dad's a big Avatar guy.
Is the first one good, kind of in its own merits? Is the second one a lot better?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do remember that. Yes.
And it's still this, and then Planet of the Apes. This is like visually immaculate, and I think like that's never going to be something you have an issue with these movies. Is there anything else you want to touch on, or
no? I just really hope that I don't know. I am curious, George. Monkey.
Yeah.
I am
just
curious.
Think about Bubbles.
Bubbles.
There was this Curious George thing where he ate a bubble, and then somebody said that they were like, I think it was a tweet. They're like, Curious George made me so mad as a kid because he used to eat bubbles, and I used to think that they would taste really good because of the way that he would eat them. And then I ate one as a kid, and I got really mad because of how horrible it tasted. And he was like, but I can't be mad at a monkey that's just curious, because I was too.
That sounds like a page. I just read that page from the book itself. I am curious of what new ideas that they're going to be bringing to this franchise.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, right? Because for me, Caesar gets better, or Caesar from like the last trilogy got better each single time, right?
That's why it's hard to compare, though, right?
Yeah. So I'm just trying to like just judge it on its own right now and be like, well, right now I just don't think Noah himself was as strong as he was from like the last half of the movie, and based on the first half.
It's just like, for me, could he be? Yeah, but like, I think
he just needs more development.
And that's what I'm convinced the final couple of scenes are.
Okay.
Because the reason why I think they're heading in having the opposite arc of Caesar, and these movies are willing to do that. I wish I would have said this in our thing about Rise of Skywalker. Whenever the whole thing with Rey being evil and Kylo being good, I would love it, and these movies would go that far.
Yes.
Like if Noah ended up somehow being the kind of opposite of that.
Like Koba?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't trust her at the end of the movie.
Yes.
And then he says, I don't know if Caesar was right or wrong. And then he hands her the thing. I think that's great because it has.
I mean, at the end of the day, they don't have like the knowledge.
Yeah.
So it's kind of.
It just leaves it morally ambiguous, and then it's sort of up to you to figure out. You're like, that's why I love the last shot so much when they both look up into the sky because they both have two different looks on their faces because Noah doesn't look happy at the end of the movie. And, well, neither does she really. Yeah. But we don't know why, not yet, at least. And I do hope we find out. I mean, I would usually ask you if you'd want to see another one, but I mean,
yeah, I do want to see the next one.
I love this. I have the same issues with it that you did, more or less, but maybe just not as strongly, I guess. Yeah. If you were to give this a score...
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5?
Yeah.
I'm going a little bit higher. 4.5 out of 5. Okay. I think this is really great. I think it compares to Rise. Okay. And this one of those movies where could it benefit from the next 5 and 6? Because this is the 4th. Yes. That's another thing I was apprehensive about. I was really hoping that it wasn't a reboot. I didn't want it to be a reboot.
I didn't know if it was going to be a reboot or not.
Well, even the trailers, because I didn't mind the trailers either. I'm glad... I think the reason why the trailers are the way they are is because they do hide stuff, thank God. Yes. And...
Yeah, it was cool to see William H. Macy.
Yeah, I had no idea. He was on that's why he was on the red carpet for this. I thought he was like a monkey.
Because he looks like a monkey?
No, what? Oh. You said that, not me.
Okay, I didn't know that was a bad thing.
No, it's like saying Andy Serkis is... Someone said that...
He looks like a monkey? Because he looked like Caesar?
He looks like Gollum.
He looks like Caesar more than Gollum.
Does he look like Snoke?
No.
He's I love Andy Serkis.
Yes.
You know who he looks like? He looks like Claw from Black Panther.
You're right, he does. They practically look like twins.
I like his hair in that movie. So, moving on from this to a movie that I guess nobody has watched because it's massively underperforming. Although I could have sworn I saw ads for this everywhere.
Me too.
Was The Fall Guy.
The Fall Guy.
And there's nothing to really spoil here, which is kind of why we also grouped it into this episode, because while I guess I'm going to say it right now, I did like this movie a fair amount. Too. Yes. I didn't love it or anything. Yeah. But there's not a whole lot to
I think
say.
I would watch it again at home.
Yeah.
But it's not something I'm very eager to watch again in theaters.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just one of those things too where do I enjoy this movie because of the actors in this movie or the characters?
So, I think what I love about this movie is its ode to craftsmanship and movies and the behind the scenes of movies. All of that, it's very loving. It's very cared for about like everything that they say. One of the best parts of this movie is in fact the end credits because of the stunt stuff that they show. And I guess they broke a world record on this movie for the most amount of flips a car can do.
Oh, really?
That was recorded on screen, which is cool for this movie to have. Yeah. But it's the same thing for me. Did I really like this because of Ryan Gosling being amazing? Yes. And being able to sell literally any joke ever? Or is it well written? I think it's funny. I do think it's funny for sure.
I think I say it's funny. Yeah. I think the standouts for sure are Ryan Gosling. I really like Emily Blunt in this movie as well.
Yeah, I do too. Their chemistry, I think, is great.
I do wish I got to see more of Aaron Taylor Johnson.
He's not in it enough.
Yeah. But I think like everyone who I saw in the trailer was barely in it except for Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt.
You know who's in it a fair amount, and I love her from Ted Lasso?
Oh, I remember
Hannah Waddingham.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I got to see more of her as well.
Yeah.
But it's weird because I don't know if it was longer, it would have been better. But at the same time, like, would it drag too?
I thought this movie took a little while to get going. Funny enough, because I didn't mind all of like the banter and back and forth, but they got so focused on that that it also feels like they forgot Aaron Taylor Johnson was missing in the first place.
Yes.
Because Ryan Gosling has literally no urgency to go and find him.
I think that's what it is too. Because whenever he was just standing around just talking, you're like, oh yeah, like they're doing something, like they're trying to be like detectives. Right now.
You know what this movie reminded me of?
What?
Chip and Dale,
the live action one.
Yeah.
That was funny. I do want to watch that movie again because I casually talk about that movie
because
like
it's hilarious.
Yeah,
and it's written by the Lonely Island people, so of course I think it's hilarious. Yeah. But I was like, wait, this has the same sort of like go and find someone who's missing, and then it has to do with like these people that are either retired from like some sort of filmmaking or movie making, or TV show process. So I just randomly thought about that. And I know it's based off of a TV show from the 80s.
I didn't know that until afterwards.
Really?
Yeah.
My dad is apparently a huge fan of that show, and I learned that because of this movie. He was like, oh, this is based off the Lee Majors thing. And I was like, you already know about that? And he was like, yeah, I used to watch that show all the time as a kid.
Yeah, at the end, because I saw it with a crowd.
Yeah.
And I stayed until after the credits.
Scene?
I didn't even know there was.
Yeah.
I just stayed because I think because I enjoyed like the credits showcasing like the stunts and everything.
Yeah, I think they did that on purpose.
And then a bunch of people were amazed seeing the lead actor in that show showing up, and they were like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Who is this guy?"
No, I think that's why everyone in that movie was so much older than I was, because I was like, I guess they saw this and they were like, "Oh, I gotta see the Fall Guy remake."
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know this was a remake.
And I asked my dad, I was like, "Is it similar?" And he's like, "No, it's completely different." He was like, "But I guess they took some of it, like he's a stunt man, and that's what they kept." I think the irony for me is that because this is trying to be like an action comedy romance, and it does 2 out of the 3 of those really well. I think the irony of David Leitch is he could learn how to film his own action a little bit better, because I feel like the sort of tension isn't as there as it's supposed to be.
Probably because it seems so smooth.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, I know for a fact that everything they're doing is real. They showed us, but that's why I think it's weird. The scene whenever they're on the truck, and like all the sparks are flying and they're on the street, that's really cool. I sort of wish he would have framed it in a way that it didn't look like he was somehow on like a green screen somewhere, because I was sort of like thinking that he was up until they show that, and I was like, no, I'm an idiot, because like, did they just film it really flat looking, and is that why that looks like that? But that also ties back into our critique of when movies do that, and we're like, if they would have just learned how to maybe composite a shot better, they could have done that. I mean, don't get me wrong though, I love the sort of like in the know movie references, but I also think that's why this movie didn't do that well. Is because you have to love filmmaking, and love the passion behind like screenplay writing and stunt coordination.
But to be honest, I would think Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt would be enough to pull in an audience.
They can sell a movie to us, but just think about the fact that La La Land did well over time.
Okay.
Drive,
I love La La Land.
I do too, but
I love it.
It was made for like $20 million, and it made money over the years. It got popular over years of time. And then Drive also got popular over years of time. It didn't do well when it first came out.
Where's Nicholas Winding Refn?
He's busy doing a show right now, I think.
Oh, okay.
And I know he loves Hideo Kojima. They talk all the time. I love Hideo Kojima. And I love his tweets about Furiosa from recently.
Oh, really? What did he say?
He said that, you know who this is, right?
Yeah.
The Metal Gear Solid guy?
Yeah.
He was like, the way he frames stuff is so funny. You can always tell when
he likes something.
Not just likes, but adores.
Yeah.
Because he'll tweet about it 40 times.
Oh. And I know whenever he hates or doesn't like something, he just says...
very simple, yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, I'm watching this.
Or whenever...
I would just watch this.
I don't think he likes Saltburn, because he said, watching Saltburn today, and then never talked about it again. And
that's so funny to me.
Yeah, and I mean, we love Saltburn, but that movie has like its whole like thing. But he was like, this movie's not just past mad, it's not just past fury, it's like the way he phrases stuff is hilarious. He loved it. He said that everything George Miller makes is my Bible. And and then he was like, I'm gonna go watch Fury Road 30 more times or something like that. And then I was like, that's me. I haven't seen that movie in a while because I always try and like see if they'll show it in theaters again. I bet they will.
I bet they will.
Yeah,
I would love to see that.
We spoke that Star Wars thing into existence.
Let's go! I'm so excited
too. I'm doing the prequel marathon.
When, tomorrow?
No, it's in July.
Oh, July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
free
to
snacks.
I know. I mean, it's at Alamo.
Oh, okay.
Just to say that I did it. You know. But yeah, no. So I ended up watching 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, and 6 because we're watching at least 4 and 6. I don't know about 5, but with this, I do love Miami Vice, the Michael Mann movie.
Oh.
I thought that was cool. That jacket's awesome. Mm-hmm. Every jacket he makes.
That was really cool.
But I mean, still though, I don't think that movie stars fully exist as much as they used to anymore.
No, I don't think so. I think just because of the amount of influencers.
Yeah.
So they start to become a little bit more famous, so it takes it away.
You know what I could not stop thinking though?
What?
I kept thinking this exact movie, The Fall Guy.
Yes.
With Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt.
Yes.
Transport this movie to the 90s, then it's considered like incredible, I bet. It has that sort of lost feeling that movies from that era and the late 80s you don't really get anymore and people keep trying to recapture. I thought this did. It has its sort of like, I love the kind of bumbling well, this is not even LA, it's Australia, but idea of these people trying to navigate having just like a daily job and the romance and then the action as well, because everything ties in well enough. I just don't know what's missing here for me that doesn't push it past into great. Yeah. What about you?
I think maybe if I don't know, because I do like the comedic aspect. Yeah. But maybe if they leaned in a little bit more on what they wanted to focus on, like if they wanted to focus more on the romance, they could just lean more into that and just have it like that be the lead type. Yeah. Or if not, then just like the action, because it seemed like they had a balance of everything. But the fact that you're just probably just jumping from different feelings and you don't know how to genuinely feel throughout the entire movie.
And like, I think that's okay to do. It's okay to have tonal shifts. Yeah. But you also need to know how to do it. Yeah. And like, this movie does have...
Okay, when we think of like other David Leitch movies, because I was looking at his other stuff that he's like directed. Yeah. They're all the same in terms of action.
Deadpool 2 I like. Bullet Train I loved. Yes. And Atomic Blonde I love. This one I really like. Yes. And I really like, I mean, he has a style.
At the end of the day, I think I like all of his movies that he's directed, so.
Wait, no, before we like move into final parts of this, I loved the drug sequence. I thought that was really creative. I was kind of hoping for more stuff like that.
Yeah, like stylish, the way it looked. Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I liked the whole like him being on a scooter thing. That's like very visually funny. Yeah. Not to sound like this was disappointing. It's not. I wish it was doing better. I like this movie quite a bit. And have you been to Universal Studios before?
Yes. When I was like 14, 15. Yeah.
What'd you think of it? The only reason I'm asking is because I like the whole like stunt show thing that they talked about.
I don't really remember.
Really? Yeah. I was just there back in November. I am going to take this opportunity to rant about the Fast and Furious ride. Okay. It's awful. It is one of the worst rides I've ever been on in my life. And I love the Fast and Furious movies.
You're talking about the one in California?
No, in Florida.
Oh, then no. Never mind. But I've been the one at California. Not
Fast and Furious?
Not the Fast and Furious one, the Universal Studios one.
So so what happens in this ride is you're walking through a garage. And it's like all the cars and stuff. All that's cool. I think they're real cars, right?
I mean, it sounds cool already.
Yeah. And then, you know how they have pre-shows whenever it's like them talking? Yes. Maybe some of the worst acting I've ever seen from any of these people. Okay. Because
they're probably just forced to, hey, you have to do this real quickly.
Yeah. And then Michelle Rodriguez, Tyrese Gibson's is hilarious. Yeah. Because they're all giving some of the flattest delivery I've ever heard, including The Rock. The Rock has this, like, I don't know if they only let him pose in 2 different ways. Yeah. Because he's, like, doing this, like, stance where he's, like, You know the Superman pose where he has like the
yes,
and it's just him doing that basically the whole time, and he's basically like moving 2 different ways. Imagine those types of videos whenever it's like, "Hi, I'm The Rock here," and then he's like shifts, and then he's like, but it's that sort of joke, like however people are fake DMing people on Instagram. Where it's like, "Hi, I'm Justin Bieber. I made song Baby. Please send." Sorry, I think I spit on you. $500.
Keep going.
Like that?
Yeah.
Hang on, I got a cough.
Okay, I keep going.
Oh no, he's pressuring me.
All right, yeah.
But it's like that, yeah.
Okay.
And they keep repeating the same line over and over. Whenever Ludacris is like, "We need to go to the party," and then it's like,
right.
But dude, I swear, I think that and I like these movies, and I don't think their performances in any of them are bad, except like Ronda Rousey in Furious 7.
Oh yeah.
And
I forgot that she was in that.
Yeah, I just remember her one line delivery that I was like, oh, I
mean, that's why she's not an actress. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's not her fault, I guess. That's just whenever she blew up and then was everywhere, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And like what the ride does is just, you know how some of them they shake you around.
Mm-hmm.
This just does that a lot, and it doesn't like you're not immersed because you have to turn sideways.
Wait, but you're in a like.
You're in this like it's called the party bus.
Okay.
And you have to sit down in it, and then what they do is it just shakes you a lot.
Okay.
Like over and over.
Okay.
And then while they're all shouting at you, and maybe some of the worst CGI I've ever seen is surrounding you because it's a roller coaster. It's not like the movies, but the roller coaster is not actually a roller coaster because you're just moving in a straight line.
Yeah.
And
you're not going like up and down.
No.
Or, like, wow. Okay.
And they are removing this ride next year, I think.
Oh.
But it's called Fast and Furious, like, Turbocharge or something.
All right.
And I remember I'm being really excited to ride this, but then seeing, like, Universal Studios rides ranked, and this was, like, the worst.
Dang.
Yeah.
I remember the one in California. My favorite one, of course, since I love Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Just because it was very simple.
The Jurassic World in Florida is beautiful. It looks like parts of it look like from Jurassic World, the first one.
Yeah, that was amazing. Just because, like, I remember, because you're just slowly on the boat and everything, or like the car.
Yeah. And
you're just going, and then like they're showcasing like forests and like the machine, like the
animatronics.
Yeah, animatronics and everything. And it looks great. And then eventually, like, you see the T-Rex coming and all that, and then they do that drop, and the T-Rex coming.
Oh, the water?
Yeah.
I fucking hate that ride.
Yeah. My mom hated that, too. When we told her, I was like, oh, no, there's nothing happening. No. And then, next you know, it was like a 50 feet drop, just straight down. My mom was just screaming, and I was like, this is the best.
Oh, I don't hate the drop. I hate getting wet.
And,
like,
I hate getting wet.
I do. Because I didn't know that would happen.
Uh-huh.
I got soaked. I don't know how people can, like, go through the Six Flags Fiesta Texas, like, the Bugs Bunny, like, soaker squirter, whatever it's called.
Ew, what the fuck? Don't ever say that to me again.
The log squirter.
Stop!
I hate rides like that.
Why?
Because I don't want to be wet. Then you got to walk around with wet socks.
Dude, you're there, like, all day. You're gonna get dry.
But, like, whenever I went,
okay,
it was, like, 60 degrees outside.
Okay, but you like the cold.
I do like the cold, but I don't want to be wet and cold.
Yeah, but you'll be fine.
And I was also like, all this for a movie that I think is okay.
Your tone. It was years ago, man.
Wait, yeah, that was years ago, but right? Recently, yeah. I love Harry Potter World.
I haven't been, and I want to.
It's cool as hell, yeah. I've had butterbeer.
How is it?
It's what you think it is, I guess. It's like sweet caramel butter. It's not alcoholic or anything.
Yeah.
I remember recently when I went, the guy in front of me that was getting it, I was like, that dude's jacked. And then I kept seeing huge muscular people everywhere.
Yeah.
It made me wonder if something was like up with Florida. It turns out there was a bodybuilding show that weekend. Yeah. And I was like, okay, that makes way more sense. I was just really confused.
I was like, do they all live here? Do I need to move here?
No, because I Pain and Gain had a point, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't murder people.
In general.
Yeah, but do put all your life savings on
black.
Yeah. the number black.
7.
Any more thoughts you have on The Fall Guy?
Not really. I mean, I thought it was just like a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
But other than that, I can see why it's underperforming in terms of, if it was just based on the quality.
Yeah.
I can see that, but I honestly don't understand it because it's a great summer movie. I would say.
Yeah, it's hard to sell, right?
Yeah.
Like it is really good. It's really fun. I love the opening whenever the credits have the screenplay stuff. I thought that was so fucking cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. And I think that the stunts, while I wish were shot a little bit better, are impressive. They are. I would give this a 4 out of 5.
Hey, me too.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll give it 4 out of 5.
Okay. That's about it for us on this, I believe, Erwin.
That's right.
And up next, we're going to do a movie...
Dune 2.
No, not a... Well, we could do it again.
Oh.
Let's come up with more thoughts. Let's change what we think. Let's hate it now.
I mean, I'm an advocate for that.
And then send everybody against us.
Yeah.
No, they're too cool. I'm excited for the Fall Guy to be on digital, so I can at least get some of the He's So Me edits out of this one. And
True.
What are we doing next? The Idea of You.
Oh.
With Anne Hathaway and Nicholas Galitzine. Galitzine.
Okay.
The guy from the billion Prime Video originals. Because we want to take that. Is that an insult?
I don't know.
He's in Bottoms. Bottoms is amazing.
I haven't seen Bottoms.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I am excited to talk about that whenever we do.
Me too.
Because I want to talk about One Direction.
One Direction, yes.
Yeah. Which way? Anyway, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.